Hi sir, to you all viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's 6 p.m. in Boya in the Southwest region, and it's time for the news. We thank you so much for always being with us. Our major stories this evening: thousands of GCE ordinary and advanced level candidates across Cameroon have been forced into an unexpected 2-week wait following government's decision to suspend and reschedule examinations to June 2022 over alleged question leakage. Education authorities insist the move is necessary to protect the credibility of the examination, but students, parents, and experts are grappling with the immediate consequences, ranging from disrupted preparation schedules and heightened anxiety to renewed concerns about certain loopholes within the country's examination management system. Our reporters in Boya and Douala spoke with some examiners and parents on the necessity of this decision and the consequences on the students, parents, and even the board itself. That is our lone major story tonight. Let's wait for details and more. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for always being with us. The recent session of the ongoing General Certificate of Education examination, the GCE exams, has been rescheduled after authorities detected major leak of confidential examination questions on social media and other networks. This push was received like a shock and surprise by students and parents who expressed their frustration and also discomfort. Cedric Chakucho spoke with some of them. He puts together their worries in this report.
In an unprecedented move and major disruption to the academic calendar, the Cameroon Ministry of Secondary Education has officially postponed the remaining papers of the ongoing General Certificate of Education, the GCE examination session. The decision comes after a severe security breach saw confidential examination questions leaked and widely circulated across social media networks.
What actually caused the rescheduling of the GCE is due to leakages, because we noticed that most candidates, before they come to the center, they already have the question that they are about to write. Some had already seen it, and in some groups, as per what we gathered to, the answers have been sent. And when the spies from the GCE board came out, they noticed what was on the question paper is exactly what is in the different VIP groups.
Parents, students and chief centers appreciate this measure, but however find it risky for their children and students.
It was somehow a surprising news to me because it's the first time I'm getting this from the GCE board. Whatever the case, it was shocking, and looking at the inconveniences this is going to give to the children, they were prepared and probably were ready to sit in for the exam within a specific time.
The rescheduling of this exam has caused a lot of, I'll call it a lot of unseen harm, because we have students that have left from other areas. I'm talking of relocating to come closer to the center, and they are bound now to stay for extra 2 weeks. This is going to demand a lot of finance in terms of feeding, in terms of accommodation, in terms of probably transportation too. So we were actually thinking that the GCE board could give us, maybe if the rescheduling is being done, it shouldn't have been up to 2 weeks. They would have done something for 3 to 1 week, 3 days to 1 week. That would have helped these students.
To safeguard the credibility, fairness, and integrity of the highly regarded national certificate, the government has pushed the examination timeline back by 2 weeks. Papers originally scheduled to be written between Monday, June 8th and Thursday, June 18, 2026 will now be administered from Monday, June 22nd to Thursday, July 2nd, 2026.
And over to Boya in the Southwest region, thousands of GCE candidates say they were forced into the 2-week wait following the government's decision to suspend and reschedule the examination to June 22 over alleged question leak, as we already know, while education authorities insist that the move is necessary or a necessity so as to protect the credibility of the GCE board. Students, parents, and other experts are grappling with the immediate consequences on the students, the parents, and even the board itself. Rex Afon tells us more from Buea.
Centers accommodating GCE candidates in Buea have been virtually empty this Monday and are expected to remain so for the next 2 weeks. This follows a press release signed by the Minister of Secondary Education, Pauline Nalova-Lionga, suspending the examinations and rescheduling them for June 22 due to alleged examination fraud.
This cancellation will lead to so many things. For example, will lead to severe financial loss to me as a parent, also lead to emotional trauma to my child.
We are already making plans for the fact that very soon the GC will be rating, and then they will start preparatory classes for those who will be taking entrance examination. For example, my daughter. But now that plan has already been changed because of the fact that the GC has been rescheduled. You will not tell me that examinations that were supposed to be written, people will leak the exams. That's pure carelessness.
Some students are questioning why they should suffer the consequences of the irresponsible actions of a few individuals.
I think that they could have taken these measures the next academic year, because now it's not proper for it to postpone. And again, it's not the students' fault, it's the people that have the papers their fault, because they are incompetent to keep the papers safe and well.
For pedagogues, although the incident exposes weaknesses within the examination system, the decision remains a rational one that will help preserve the credibility and integrity of the GCE.
This is not the first time that we are having exams being cancelled or postponed. My prayer is that the blow that this episode has dealt on the image of the nation would be so loud sounding that the right things would be done so that we don't get to this situation again subsequently.
Some educational psychology experts argue that the fact that the examinations were postponed because of question leakage points to serious cracks within the system responsible for organizing the exams. According to them, these loopholes must be urgently identified and addressed to prevent similar cancellations or postponements in the future and to restore public confidence in the examination process.
Thank you, Rex. We will be talking more on the rescheduling of the GCE to June 22 in the second part of the news. Now on to something else. The lifeless body of a security officer who worked for a local wine shop in Limbe was discovered by residents early today. Family members revealed that at the time of the discovery, wounds were found all over his body, indicating that he was tortured, killed, and later dumped. Details with Mala Glory.
Shock and consternation grips residents of Wututu in Limbe Southwest region, following the gruesome discovery of the body of a security guard identified as Mr. Abba. According to local residents, the victim, who worked at a local wine shop, was tortured before being killed and dumped.
They were dragging for them, so peaceful for that place. They run twice for day. Kill and drag and go put her for the bench where you used to rest of it.
Family members expressed deep distress, stating that they remain confused and have received no information regarding the circumstances of his death. The body has been deposited at the morgue as police investigations are currently on the way to identify and apprehend the killers.
To mark the 54th edition of the World Environment Day, Cameroon's Defense Forces are leading environmental efforts in Douala. The 21st Military Engineering Regiment hosted a massive tree planting operation or exercise. The event saw the effective presence of high-ranking military personnel and regional environmental authorities of the littoral. Lord Mayeru reports.
It is a major green mobilization at the military engineering site in Douala. The high-profile civic activity was marked by the effective presence of Brigadier General Ngolo Gomba Tobi Gabriel, commander of the 2nd Joint Military Region, alongside the departmental delegate of environment for the littoral. Together with the United Nations officials and local engineering soldiers, they took up shovels to push forward this strategic environmental campaign. The celebration of the World Environmental Day reminds us of the urgency of the challenges confronting our planet: climate change, ecosystem degradation, biodiversity loss, and the multiple pressures exerted on natural resources demand a collective and sustainable mobilization of all actors in society. The active participation of the top military hierarchy and state environmental authorities strongly reinforce the vital army-nation bond. By integrating military resources with institutional environmental oversight, the operation demonstrates that national security and ecological defense are now fully intertwined. The 21st military engineering regime is particularly proud to contribute to the noble cause. Faithful to its vocation as a builder and an actor of development, our unit remains available to support all initiatives and participate in the protection of the environment, the well-being of the population, and the reinforcement of national cohesion. Backed by the highest regional military command, the state environmental actors, today's tree planting set a strong benchmark for civic responsibility and green patriotism.
And now let's take you out of our national frontiers. At least 19 people have died after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake rocked the coast of Sarangani in the Philippines that was earlier today. According to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, the number can increase. And to Nigeria, the security forces successfully freed approximately 360 hostages in a major intelligence-led operation in the Mandara Mountains of the Borno State. Let's have more on that with Mara Glory.
A powerful 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck the southern Philippines early this Monday, leaving at least 19 people dead, 134 injured. The shallow quake hit near General Santos City just as public schools reopened for the year, causing buildings to collapse and sending panicked students fleeing. The entire region has been plunged into darkness as rescuers search for 12 missing people. An initial tsunami warning has passed, but officials urge residents to stay outdoors due to severe aftershock risk. And elsewhere, the Nigerian army has rescued 360 hostages from a Boko Haram stronghold in the Mandara Mountains of southern Borno State. Military officials confirmed the survivors have been evacuated for urgent medical care and humanitarian aid. Tragically, 2 infants died from exhaustion due to harsh terrain and prolonged captivity, while the military calls this a major success following a recent joint operation with the United States that killed 175 rival ISWAP fighters. Nigeria's northern region remains gripped by a decade-long security crisis. Analysts warn that despite these rescue operations, President Bola Tinubu faces growing pressure as mass kidnappings and insurgent violence continue to displace millions. And over to Senegal, where political crisis deepens as Ousmane Sonko won re-election as head of the ruling Pastef party following a major fallout with President Diomaye Faye. The two leaders are locked in power struggle over the country's debt strategy and leadership authority. Sonko warned supporters that their revolution is under threat from external interventions, hinting at a future presidential run. Meanwhile, President Faye gains the constitutional power to dissolve parliament this November to strip Sonko's party of its majority.
In sports, with kickoff just days away, injury fears are already reshaping squads For the 2026 FIFA World Cup, key starters for Morocco, Brazil, Canada, Germany, and Paraguay are now in doubt. Meanwhile, off the pitch, two of Africa's most famous fans are heading in opposite directions. As Majikan Gabriel tells us in the report, this comes up next.
The countdown to Canada, Mexico, and the United States is on, but the treatment tables are getting crowded. Morocco, surprise semi-finalists in 2022, are sweating on two starters. Winger Abdesamad Ezazoui and defender Nusai Mezrazoui both went off early in Sunday's 1-1 warm-up draw with Norway. Both are now doubtful for Sunday's opener against Brazil. Brazil has already made a change. Right back Wesley is out with a significant left thigh muscle injury suffered against Egypt in Cleveland. He is replaced by midfielder Ederson. The Seleção will still face Morocco June 13, then Haiti and Scotland. Neymar's status is also uncertain. The 34-year-old missed the trip to Cleveland and remains sidelined with a calf injury. Hosts Canada have a defensive reshuffle too. Projected starting centre-back Moise Bombito of Nice is reportedly out. His leg isn't healed, forcing head coach Jez Mas to rethink his backline days before the tournament. Paraguay's 22-year-old attacker Julio Enciso is also in doubt after a double injury to his side and lower back against Nicaragua. He was stretchered off on Friday. Germany's dream for 18-year-old Bayern starlet Lennart Kahl is over. He was forced out of the squad after injury just a week after starting in the 4-0 win over Finland. Off the pitch, fan stories. South Africa's Mama Joy will watch from home after Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie excluded her from the fan delegation to Mexico. In contrast, DR Congo's famous supporter Lumumba is heading to the World Cup after players directly requested him. President Felix Tshisekedi approved his travel accommodation, tickets, and visa. With kickoff this week, fitness, not just form, could decide who makes it out of the group stage.
Thanks, Matt. With that sports piece, we call it quits to the first part of the news. Let's move on to talking points, viewers. Welcome back, viewers. Today we are talking on the rescheduling of the GCE examination, the ordinary and advanced levels. And we have two guests today. We begin first with you, Sama Abang. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. You are a teacher in one of the largest centers, examination centers in the country, in the southwest region to be more precise. That is the bilingual grammar school in Moliko, closest to the GCE board. Thank you, sir, for your time with us tonight.
Yeah, definitely. We had not only as a school, but even within the neighborhood, where you have your neighbors' children who are your students. We got calls since last Saturday night and even throughout yesterday and up to this morning. A good number of them came, and echoes from the school campus where I teach indicate that a good number of them actually came today because nobody wanted to take chances, so they came to be sure, and they were asked to go home, that the information circulating was authentic. Definitely, you could see frustration on the faces of some who had come prepared for the battle, and some mixed excitement on the faces of those who were not psychologically or mentally prepared. You definitely have that category of those who think that the extension is a blessing to them. So we had a good number of students who came in their uniforms, to be sure.
Thank you, sir. You went straight to explain to us how you succeeded in convincing the parents and some of the students today that the information that the GCE has been rescheduled was authentic. Now, we can't be talking about leakage of examination questions, and we can't apportion blames. Who should be blamed in this case?
And I sat for the GCE advanced level for the first session in the year 1996, June 1996. And I can recall, and I'm sure my batchmates would recall rightly, that chemistry paper 2 was repeated. We had written and we left and we were called back. Unfortunately, we didn't have social media in those days, but we were called back to come and write chemistry paper 2, which we did because there were leakages. This is not the first time we are having leakages in public exams. Our colleagues and our brothers of the Francophone subsystem of education would bear with us that their back exams and their other exams have been very prone to leakages in the past. Leakages are not an uncommon phenomenon in our system, especially in a very porous system like the one that we have. In our university systems, it is very common. I would remind you, or let me inform you, of the case of a professor friend of mine who would never submit his exam questions at the exam at the faculty exam secretariat. He would prefer to type and print and bring under his armpit, safely guarded into the exam hall himself, which tells you that it is a common phenomenon. But as to your question, Aki Dong La Foot, there are so many actors involved in managing an exam which is as elaborate as the GCE exam, and very many actors. And for us to be able to know where we can really point a finger, it is proper we go by elimination. Can it be the teachers who set exams? No, because you set, you don't moderate. Can it be the chief examiners and the exam officers who moderate and proofread? No, because they moderate, proofread, and hand to the board. They do not determine when the exams that have been set by the examiners moderated and then proofread by the chief examiners. They don't know when those exams will be used for evaluation. Can it be the same exam officers at the GCE board? No. The current crop of exam officials who make up the transition management team at the board are men and women of integrity, probity, and moral uprightness, to the best of my judgment. And so, at what level then can we start putting blame? You should bear with me that there is a saying which goes thus: in every 12 there is a Judah. That Judah could be your secretary, that Judah could be your typist, that Judah could be your driver, that same Judah could be the person printing, it could be the person parceling, it could be the person transmitting from the catchment center to the exam hall. So it's unless investigations are like carried out, whatever on whose shoulders we may want to place blames is mere speculation.
Sama Abang, from time immemorial, we know that the GCE board sets 3 sets of questions, like the first, the second, and the third. Now, why not use, if the first leaked, why not use the second or the third rather than reschedule the exam for 2 weeks?
I don't want to claim knowledge of insider dealings in the GCE board. Like, I know exactly what they do to manage exams. But what I know is that when teachers who are chief examiners and other examiners moderate exams, they moderate them in sets. It is now within the competence of the GCE board to choose which set of a particular year to evaluate, to use for its evaluation. But to expect that if there are 3 sets for 2022, for example, 3 sets for 2025, which were moderated and proofread and approved, to expect that the board would spend huge sums of money to print all of those sets in order to prevent leakage. It is impossible. I don't think that the problem is at the level of set A or set B, because it is the volition of somebody who chooses to leak an exam. And that person who has made up their minds to leak one could still leak 2 and 3. I think that the problem is not at the level of backup, because the board cannot spend money to print 3 sets of the same exam and eventually use one. I'm sure that is why this extension or this postponement has been made, so that one of the sets that are in the question bank could be used. The fact that they have 3 sets does not mean that all those sets are printed and kept on standby every year. That would be too fabulous a sum of money for the state to spend. I'm sure it is time now for them to look at where the leakage might have originated from, and now see how they can block those leakages and use any of the other remaining sets now for the subsequent phase of the exam.
Thank you very much, Sama Abang, for your input. Now let's meet our second guest, Elodine Jita, a post-modo. She is an examiner, a GC examiner in one of the centers here in Douala. Thank you, Madame Elodie, for accepting to be our guest, our second guest tonight. Now tell us how you got the info about the leakage of some examination questions of the GCE.
It was very surprising that on Saturday in the evening, sometime around 8, I started receiving messages of the GCE being rescheduled, and I first of all consulted a group here, the Cashman group here in Bonaberry. And when I consulted the group, I actually saw the documents from the minister where the exam has been rescheduled from the 8th to the 22nd of June. In actual terms, this actually took us by surprise. But in another form, if leakages are everywhere, then at a certain level, the minister actually had the right to do so.
And now, how can we generally explain the leakage of GCE questions? What did you notice? Did you notice anything fishy at your level as an examiner before that decision, that is before Saturday?
What actually caused the rescheduling of the GCE is due to leakages, because we noticed that most candidates, before they come to the center, they already have the question that they are about to write. Some had already seen it, and in some groups, as per what we gathered to, the answers have been sent. And when the spies from the GCE board came out, they noticed what was on the question paper is exactly what is in the different VIP groups. So the...
And now, sure, some students came to your center early today. What was their state of mind, and what did you tell them?
After some students got this information, most of them never believed it. So they came to the center this morning. And when they came, we actually saw how they were demoralized, and I had to go to speak with them. I had to cancel them because morally, psychologically, they were no longer themselves. I told them they should understand that it's just barely a rescheduling of the dates. The exam still remains, and it's still the same GCE for the same year. So they should not be worried about it. They should just try to manage themselves and look at it that for the past weeks, they've been writing the practicals, and then they're preparing to start the written session of the exam. So I encouraged them and told them that they should go back home, they make sure they read their notes, and then prepare extremely hard with past questions.
That was wise of you, but after all what you told the students you met today, do you think they were convinced psychologically and morally? Weren't they still disturbed?
In actual terms, after I cancelled them, I still noticed that this is going to affect them, because we have candidates that they actually have the zeal to prepare for an exam, and when that exam is pushed forward or postponed, you'll see that there's a kind of relaxation. So what I told them is that in the parents forum, I told the parents not to relent, the parents should make sure that they cancel them. After they cancel them, they get to follow them up to see that the child reads. They should wake up in the morning, they see that the child reads. In the evening, the child reads. They help them during this period so that their results will be better.
And now, before we go, Madam Njita, this decision sure comes with some consequences. Now, who bears these inconveniences?
The rescheduling of this exam has caused a lot of, I'll call it a lot of unseen harm, because we have students that have left from other areas. I'm talking of relocating to come closer to the center, and they are bound now to stay for extra 2 weeks. This is going to demand a lot of finance in terms of feeding, in terms of accommodation, in terms of probably transportation too. So we were actually thinking that the GC board could give us, maybe if the rescheduling is being done, it shouldn't have been up to 2 weeks. They would have done something for 3 to 1 week, 3 days to 1 week. That would have helped these students.
Courage to all the students, and good luck again to you all. 2 weeks will come to pass like nothing. And viewers, that was what we put together for you on the news tonight. And thank you to our guests tonight, Mr. Sama Abang from Boya and Elodin Jita in Douala. That does it for this edition of the news, viewers. Our programs continue. Equinoxe would be yours at 7 p.m. in about 25 minutes, and the news in the French language with Julienne Beth Bisai comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television, and we will be together again tomorrow, same time, that is God willing. For now, it's bye-bye from us.